Howard didn't realize he was getting old until he stopped being noticed. He was 76, still mobile, still clear-headed, still able to fix a leaky pipe or open a jam jar without help. But when he walked down the street, people didn't make eye contact anymore. Clerks looked past him. Even his own grandchildren barely paused their games to say hello. One day at the grocery store, a teenager behind the register sighed impatiently as Howard fumbled for his wallet. No words, no eye contact, just a sigh like he was an inconvenience. That was when it hit him. He had become invisible. That night, Howard sat on his porch and thought about what it meant to grow old in a world that moves faster every day. He wasn't bitter, not exactly, but he was tired of the quiet lies people told themselves about aging, the comforting cliches, the glossed over truth. So he decided to write it down, not for sympathy, but for honesty. A list he wished someone had handed him when he turned 60. 7 brutal truths every elderly person needs to hear before it's too late. 1. People won't treat you the same, no matter how young you feel. You might still feel like the person you were at 50, 40, even 30. You might crack jokes, lift weights, or solve crosswords faster than anyone. But once the wrinkles set in, once your hair thins or your walk slows, the world starts treating you differently. Howard had experienced it firsthand. Doctors spoke slower, as if he couldn't understand. Strangers assumed he needed help crossing the street. He didn't mind kindness. What he minded was condescension disguised as care. He wrote, "Don't fight for recognition. Command it through presence, not protest test. Know your worth, even if others forget it." 2. Your children have their own lives, and you are no longer the center of them. This one hurt the most. Howard loved his kids. He'd raised them with discipline and warmth, worked overtime to send them to college, stayed up nights when they were sick. But now they called once a week, visited every few months, and often sounded distracted. It wasn't hatred. It wasn't even neglect. It was life. They had jobs, spouses, kids of their own. Howard had once been the sun they orbited. Now he was a distant star, still burning, but no longer central. He wrote, "Don't guilt them. Don't beg for time. Build your own schedule. Fill your days with things you choose, not things you wait for." 3. Loneliness will sneak in and it will not knock first. Howard had friends, or rather he had friends. Over the years they moved away, got sick, died. The table at the local diner where 5 of them once met every Wednesday morning was now just a memory. Loneliness doesn't come with sirens. It's quiet. It settles in the corners of your day. The silence after the news ends. The empty chair across the kitchen table. The phone that doesn't ring. He wrote, "Call someone. Talk to strangers. Join a group, even if you hate the idea. Connection is oxygen for the aging heart." You must stop waiting for an apology that will never come. Howard had old wounds. A brother who betrayed him. A son who said cruel things during an argument years ago and never took them back. He used to imagine the apologies, used to write imaginary letters in his head. But one day, he realized something. He was the only one still bleeding. He wrote, "Heal without permission. Forgive people who don't deserve it, not for them, but for yourself. Peace comes not when wounds are closed, but when you stop touching them." And a 5. Your health is your full-time job now. Howard had always been strong, rarely got sick, but after 65, the body begins to whisper, then shout. A skipped walk turns into weak knees. Ignored pain becomes immobility. Medication becomes a routine, not a choice. He wrote, "Eat like your future depends on it, because it does. Move your body every day. Don't trust I feel fine. Prevention is your new religion." 6. You're going to start losing things, memories, abilities, and people. It began with small things, a name he couldn't recall, a tool he couldn't find, but it deepened. Friends passed away. He could no longer run. His handwriting changed. There was grief in these losses, not just of people, but of parts of himself. Howard grieved, then adapted. He found new ways to keep memories alive, wrote down stories, recorded his voice, labeled everything. He wrote, "Accept the losses, but fight to retain your essence. You are still here. Let every day be proof." 7. No one is coming to save you. This was the hardest truth of all. No government program, no magical moment. No one would suddenly make things easier. The safety net was thin. If he wanted dignity, he had to build it. If he wanted joy, he had to chase it. If he wanted respect, he had to earn it. Every day, even now. He wrote, "Don't wait for rescue. Be your own advocate. Ask questions. Demand answers. Choose your joy and guard it fiercely." Howard closed the notebook. It was late. The porch was dark except for the glow of the street lamp. Across the road, a couple walked their dog. They didn't look at him. He didn't mind. The next day, he took the notebook to the community center and read the list out loud during a meeting for retirees. The room was silent. Then one woman whispered, "That's the most honest thing I've heard in years." Another said, "Why didn't anyone tell me this when I turned 60?" Howard smiled, "Because people are scared to say the hard things, but the hard things can set you free." And for the first time in a long time, he felt seen. He wasn't invisible. He was a mirror, and every person in that room saw their reflection in him.